Did you ever do any of the Scientology stuff?
No, I read about a third of Dianetics.
Yeah.
A long book.
I bought the book and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm starting to read it. It's like, this guy's a good author. That's what he does.
There was so much like circular logic going on.
I'm sure it's faulted.
In the book. Yeah. So much of it was like, this all works and it's been proven and we're going to tell you how it's proven. Just keep reading because we know it works. And there are examples.
It's just hypnotic
and let me
language.
tell you some of these examples.
Yeah.
Here in a second. And then it just keeps like repeating the same kind of cycles over and over
This
and over.
is
And you never actually
yeah.
get to the like, it doesn't feel like a textbook that gets into details. It's like a pamphlet for a thing that you need to go and do. And so it's like a commercial. The book is a commercial for going into a Scientology center and actually doing the auditing and all that stuff. And I don't feel like it ever really gets into what that process looks like and why it's important and why it works and all that. It's just a commercial.
What they call that is pseudo logic, when you connect things that don't necessarily really connect in real life, but you use the language because and these connecting words, and they're just doing this because this, and they're just mentioning on occasion, people that go in and have this audit or whatever they call it in this thing, do this, and then because this, and eventually just somewhere in your brain, it just sticks. And you're like, oh, maybe I should go get an audit. In 3, 2,
I'm recording.
Welcome to the Is This
Entertainment
Entertainment
Podcast. Is this entertainment? We don't know. We haven't figured it out, but we're going to keep trying.
We hope so. We hope we've entertained someone. In fact, if we've ever entertained you at any point and you forgot to hit the follow/subscribe button, make sure you do that now.
If at any point in time you've felt a kindness toward us based off of our little show, just do us a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Desperate for a comment.
You can leave a comment. Did you see that? Somebody raised their hand on the YouTube video. Just
No.
Yeah.
No. Somebody raised their hand.
Yeah. They said I'm here. They said here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect.
After 24 shows.
Oh, that's great. That is great. I'm going to the YouTube page right now to see that glorious hand. 2 comments. Spam. Hi, boys. No, you're not a real person.
It is 1 week ago on the WandaVision episode 9 series finale. Mr. Cabbage 1608.
Here. Thanks, Mr. Cabbage 1608. You done great. You know what? I'm going to give that person a like.
There you go.
Love it. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Mr. Cabbage.
2 in between generation.
I think I'm a millennial and you're a Gen X. And that's crazy talk.
And we figured out how to like a comment just now.
That's right. That's right. It only took us
5 years.
4 minutes. 4 minutes of the show's time.
Yeah.
So how was your week, man?
It was actually, I was fairly productive on the Get Songs Done front. For those of you who don't know, I have a brand called Get Songs Done. I help people make music faster. And I'm hoping that it will help myself make music faster as well. That's all part of the plan. So I got a new video up over there, and that makes me happy.
Tell them the website.
Yeah, it's just getsongsdone.com. Yeah. Or YouTube, look it up. Get Songs Done.
How simple is that?
Yeah. Simple. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. And we did the Taylor Swift. That was a while ago. Got to come up with a new article idea. Got to write some more for the site. I'm not sure what to write about. Like, writing is a struggle for me. I think it's like more like fun for you. For me, it's, I got to come up with something to write. I'm creating a course right now. And so for each little module, I got to write a description. It's like, what? I don't want to write a description. I already made the module,
Right.
So
yeah,
it's just, I don't know why. It's just a sticking point for me. It's like a pain in the ass. Like every time I see a form I got to fill out, I'm like, this is why it takes me so long to do my taxes.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Actually, I got to make a note. That's the thing I need to do today. Look at tax docs, because I need to get those scanned and over to my accountant.
You need to tell me who your accountant is, and you got to help me out here.
Sure.
No, I'm TurboTax. I'll probably TurboTax it. It's just been this year. I feel bad for everybody.
Yeah.
Because we did get some cool new entertainment, but for the most part, I think all of us hit the bottom of Netflix. I think we got to the end of it. We got to the end of
Yeah,
Netflix.
there was a stall where people were like, all right, we don't want to put anything new out until things calm back down and people can go into theaters, unless it was already earmarked for direct-to-video. Oh, what was that movie with Charlize Theron that came out where they were kind of immortals?
Oh, that was a fun movie. Yeah, Netflix bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was on Netflix, and it was like, that's a movie that wouldn't have gotten that much run if everyone wasn't stuck at home. So like those types of movies, I feel like got
the old guard,
got their time in the sun.
Yeah,
the old guard. It was great. Yeah. Oh, and there was basically just a stunt movie with Chris Hemsworth where he was the special forces guy trying to keep somebody's son alive.
I couldn't do it.
It was basically one giant stunt. It was big dumb fun. Absolutely.
Good.
And that's another movie that like wouldn't have got nearly as much traction if everyone wasn't stuck at home. And then halfway through, I think the studios were like, all right, we got to push some new content because people need something and we can't just sit on all of these things. At the same time, you look at DC. DC is going to have 4 movies come out in 2022.
Yeah, in 22. We're still in 21.
Yeah, we're still in 21. Definitely.
Still in 21. And what's it? Scarlett Johansson?
Oh, yeah. The Black Widow movie's been pushed back like 5 times.
Yeah. When is that going to come out?
But now I
think it's July.
I think September 9th. 2 guys Googling stuff. Oh, no. July 9th. Yeah. We'll open in theaters on July 9th. And we'll launch on the studio streaming platform Disney Plus on the same day. Okay. So, yeah, that's my bad.
So it comes out July 9th, which is still like 2
July
years
9th.
late or a year and a half or something.
A year late. It was supposed to be May of 20.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
And then Eternals got pushed back, and then that other one, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings.
That could be good.
That one got pushed back.
That could be good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to all of those.
After watching this episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
The Falcon. Yeah.
When did they change it to the Falcon? Wasn't it going to be just Falcon?
I thought it was, honestly, this whole time I've been thinking it was the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, I see. But it was.
So then when it was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was like, oh gosh, we're putting the in front of both of them. And then,
not the Spider-Man.
The jokes in this episode, it's the Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. Are we going to talk about that guy?
Andrew Garfield? I thought he was a perfectly serviceable Spider-Man.
He was too cool. Spider-Man shouldn't be that cool.
He was a little too cool. That's true. Yeah, he was pretty cool. Yeah. Those were good movies. Man, Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben, that was great. Sally Field, Aunt May, she was great.
That was sweet, yeah.
I thought it was an upgrade. But at the same time, what Marvel's done with what's his name has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Ship he has with Iron Man is great.
It's just not insular, right? It's not like his own story. It's so connected.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Which is okay. But I feel like they're going to have to, at some point, just reset all of this and do smaller stories again. It's too big. It's too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how Phase 4 is going to shake out. It sounds like Spider-Man will have something to do with this multiverse stuff. So that'll go in one direction. But then with all these new things, I don't know where this Eternal stuff is going to go. I don't know where the Shang-Chi stuff's going to go. Black Widow seems pretty self-contained since it happens in between Infinity War and Endgame.
And WandaVision teased and then shut down the idea of X-Men. So that's depressing. Right. Is that going to happen?
I think Fantastic Four will get introduced before X-Men. I think that's the plan.
Silver Surfer. So you have a new bad guy.
Yeah, I think we'll get
because X-Men don't have Doctor Doom,
Galactus. Yeah, the problem with X-Men is that Magneto should be your big bad, but he's so dang cool. Everybody wants him to be
like an anti-hero. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of anti-heroes, what about this red-haired chick? I didn't get a picture of her. What is her name?
Yeah. What's her name? Carly Morgenthau. Erin Kellyman is the actress's name.
And the character's
name is Carly Morgenthau.
Carly
Morgenthau.
So speaking of
anti-heroes,
Carly. So it seems like this terrorist group is called, what are they called? God.
Don't remember.
I don't know, but it seems like they are sponsored by the UN.
One World or something like that.
Yeah, the UN or whatever.
Right.
Like
hands across the world, hands across America.
Are they the good guys? Let's see here.
Man, who knows? I couldn't call it. She's getting a text message from some random person being like, you stole something, you took something that's mine.
Yeah, they're called flag smashers, which sounds like something that's very anti-government. But at the same time, they're pro-government, just only one government. So they're like super government. It's
Are they? I think they wanted just, I don't know, more so like martial law kind of a situation was what they were going with. I think they wanted like blip rules, because I think the idea is that all of these people were around during the blip and they don't know how hard it is, or they want all the people who just came back to realize how hard it was to keep living for 5 years with governments in disarray and whatnot. And they're like, hey, turns out we're pretty good at surviving. Maybe governments in disarray isn't a bad deal for us. Let's keep that. Let's go back to that blip life. I don't want to go back and get a job.
But it seems like the governments were probably more strict, like more on lockdown. If everything, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think they could handle
they don't explain
all of the infrastructure problems.
They don't explain it very well.
Well, then the other explanation is that like the people who got blipped, there's some sort of like funding to help them out because maybe their house got sold or repossessed or something like that in the 5 years. I think maybe those people are getting like, maybe those guys are getting and everybody else is. I had to hunt rabbits and eat garbage for 5 years.
So why do they want that back? Do they want more stimulus checks?
I don't know. Maybe they just,
it's a very confusing premise. These
for
things
being
have been
2 episodes in and only having 4 more, it's time to start getting some ass.
Yeah. And 2, like, we don't even know who Falcon and Bucky work for. They're just like, we can do whatever we want. Like, why do they even care?
Yeah, it's like,
who cares?
It's like how does Bucky pay his rent? First and foremost, and then Falcon, is he still an Avenger, but obviously he hasn't called in for help. Is he getting an Avengers stipend? He's freelancing for the Air Force, but then he tells
he's done.
He tells
his contract's
new
over?
captain like, oh, hey, we can do some stuff that isn't really within the law, whereas you can't. Is it because he's a 1099 independent contractor? Is that the deal?
Something like that.
I don't know.
Or just some kind of he signed some kind of NDA we would never know.
Right. No, definitely.
It's just here's what's confusing. One, anarchy in general is confused because the general public now seems to think that anarchy is like signing on to like corporate leanings, like ideologies, when what anarchy is.
Wait, are you talking about are you talking about in the show or in real life? So
it makes it more confusing because it's not addressed appropriately in the show either. So in real life, it's confused. People don't know what it means. So it means that you just believe in no government and you rule yourself. Like that's what anarchy is. Yeah. No rulers, no one telling you what to do. But in this case, they seem to be anarchists that want a ruler, but they just want it to be I don't know what the word is. Omnipotent, like one ruler. It's very confusing.
I don't know that that's defined. I don't know.
It's one world,
what's the line?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a line in there. Yeah. It's a little strange. It's like a circular argument. It can be. So it's really confusing, even if they are the bad guys.
You know, we need a mission statement from these people. We need them, like, where's your manifesto?
Right.
Carly with a K. Get it together. Like
they obviously have one. If people are following you, what are they following you for? How come we don't know?
Yeah.
Why are we confused?
People are playing Pokemon Go with their freaking logo out in the world. Come on. Get that mission statement out there.
Yeah, they got the AR app figured out. That's not easy. AR app. I can't even say it. AR app is figured out. Yeah.
Yeah. Get us that video explaining what your goals are.
Yeah. Just where's your social media?
Internet. Yeah. Where's your Twitter? Give me that IG handle. Send me a picture of your latest raid.
I feel like obviously they better explain it in this next episode. I just have a feeling they're going to be like, oh, it's not bad. It's not that bad. These guys, they all mean well. Did they kill anybody in the first one? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah. They're like peaceful terrorists.
Yeah.
So confusing. All of this is confusing.
They definitely like whooped up on Bucky and Falcon. That's for sure. Can we talk about this new Captain America throwing that shield around like he's got super strength? I just don't believe that this man, who's normal human man, would be able to throw, like the videos of him throwing the shield. I don't know, just like with his body type and
physics.
I just don't see it. I don't see him being, I don't see him being able to generate that amount of force.
Yeah. When did it become a boomerang? Like, that's what I need to know. When did it become an auto boomerang shield?
Like, when did the shield have, is it so incredibly light? Is that the deal with vibranium that it's just, I haven't gotten the sense that vibranium is crazy light and that you can just hurl it in the same way. Like, I believed Captain America because he was a super soldier and he could throw an entire motorcycle. This guy throws it and it looks like the same general force. I'm like, nah, man, that thing's going to die 20 feet in the air. It's going to go 20 feet and then it's going to whoop. You're throwing a gigantic frisbee, bro.
Yeah. It's a frisbee.
Not a chance.
Yeah. Wind resistance.
It might hit that thing, but
also, when did a shield become a weapon? A shield, the last I checked, is there to block things.
Yeah.
And now it's the main line of offense. Like, this is a military guy. He can have a gun. Forget using a gun.
Right.
I'm just going to chuck a shield. And I know it's magically, it's going to bounce back and come back. I'll catch it with my super strength that I don't have.
In Ultron, it gets explained that Stark put that like magnetic thing so that it'll come back to his arm.
Maybe he has the magnetic thing. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he's got that magnetic thing.
I see.
That's a tough sell, man. That is a tough sell.
Yeah, the way that
he's throwing it with that amount of force.
You know what it is?
Normal. What's that?
It's speed ramping, right? They're speed ramping the video just a little bit too fast. They're speeding it up just too fast. If it would have been maybe normal speed or 1.5, 1.5, you're watching a YouTube video at 1.5, it just seems like sort of the same thing. And when you go 2x, it's, whoa, that's too much. I feel like
it's like when you're watching the old-timey baseball footage, and they're like running around like really fast around the bases, and you're like, no, something about this. This was recorded at a different speed that is being played back.
A different frame rate.
Not real. Yeah. And then his buddy, Battlestar, this dude just like, guys, you're just dropping it. You're just wearing suits. You're just wearing costumes. These guys are cosplayers. Bucky's a freaking super soldier. All right. And Falcon has a wingsuit that nobody else knows how to use. That puts them on a separate level. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Like, I get it. You're special forces. You're trying to do the thing. I get it. Do your thing. But you can't just drop in the middle of the fight without a bunch of guns. How's Battlestar not going to have any guns? You're going up against super soldiers, dude. And they're like, yeah, we can hang. No, it's just like these guys are cosplaying.
They're cosplayers. Yeah. I feel like, though, cosplaying is more accepted in general in culture because
but you're not going to go fight a legit fight against some terrorists without bringing a gun. Come on.
So you're soldiers. You're actual, like soldiers. Yeah. Real soldiers.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's just punch them.
So I'm going to jump on this moving truck. And I'm not going to bring any weapons, and I'm just going to trust hand-to-hand combat on the top of a semi-truck. No way. You don't have the tactical advantage. You don't. You know what would give you the tactical advantage? An assault rifle, a handgun, some nunchucks,
just
anything.
What about
a bow staff?
He had a shield. He has a vibranium shield.
He has a vibranium shield. But Battlestar doesn't bring nothing. And then you're like, whoops. Oh, turns out these guys are super soldiers. Huh. All right. Looks like we got our asses handed to us.
They should be basically
back
dead.
To camp.
They should be dead.
Yeah. Dude falls off the truck. Battlestar falls off the truck. Throws the shield.
Oh, yeah.
Throws the shield so that he can land safely on that and skid.
Yeah.
And then John Walker basically, that dude's got shattered vertebrae falling into that car. Also, when you see two trucks doing that on the side of the road and people fighting on top of it. You know what you don't do? Follow that closely. It's like, look, I'm trying to get to work. Can you guys take this elsewhere? I got to get around. I have a 10 a.m. meeting. Come on. Let's hurry it up. I got to go. Oh, yeah. Look, Jim, sorry I missed the presentation this morning, but there were some super soldiers fighting New Captain America on 2 semi-trucks that were blocking both sides of the road. You know, I thought about getting off and taking the parkway to go around, but I was like, this will be over soon. And then New Captain America fell into my windshield. So now I got to go get that replaced. I guess U.S. government will pay for that. No, you just stop your car. You stop your car. You don't follow that closely. Or you're just not paying attention. You're just jamming out to Britney's Toxic. Just singing along.
One, it's incredibly convenient.
Oh, yeah. It's incredibly convenient that car was there.
And 2, how does that even help? Like, you fell off of a truck onto a moving car. I guess maybe that helps. But like, it's not not any more believable than him just falling off the truck and surviving. Like, we would have probably just went along with that just as well. It's more unbelievable that there's a car right up against those 2 trucks with dudes fighting on top of them.
And the guy who's supposed to be Captain America, the best dude ever, he demolishes the windshield of this car, gets up, and doesn't immediately run to the car to be like, are you okay? There's somebody in there. And they just hitch a ride on a Jeep. Like, bro, somebody's in that car. Did you make sure that they got a ride? Do they need an ambulance?
Or an Uber? No, we'll just walk off.
You know what? We'll give you a ride. We'll give you a ride. Hop in the Jeep. Maybe they brought 2 Jeeps, and the first Jeep took... What country were they in? They weren't... I don't remember where they were.
Off the side of Garia, I don't know, somewhere. It's just every time... This is what I'm starting to learn about Marvel writers. And I think maybe even television writers and movie writers. I feel like we've lost the plot here. I think we've just not lost the plot. We've only written the plot. Like, they've just done an outline and they're like, oh, you know what would be cool? Let's have this scene where they fight on top of trucks. But what, you know, and then we'll have this scene where Falcon jumps out of an airplane and Bucky doesn't have a parachute. It's just, they just come up with a cool idea that's, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be cool? And then try to figure out how to write it into a script. Opposed to,
there is a fair amount of that.
As opposed to like what the characters do. What would they think is happening? Why are they interested in anything? There's no motivation really for why Falcon is even remotely interested in this. Like, why does he care about this?
They dinged up his buddy, and the idea that it's super soldiers, I think that takes it from a place where
that gives credence for
somebody
Bucky
else
to be curious. But it's like, why isn't this story just already being played out by the real Captain America or the government or whatever? Why is Falcon involved? Makes no sense.
I mean, I think because they didn't know about it, because they were like, hey, how were you guys tracking them? And they were like, we were actually tracking you.
But
yeah,
it just makes you think at this point, if the government can't track phone conversations and text messages, like, how come they, you know what I mean? Like, how does this even exist? None of this feels real anymore. Like, it just feels like it's in an alternate universe where things work conveniently for story points or plot points. Like, it doesn't feel like it's in the real world.
I get that.
Because like you said, Falcon could have raised some money there. He could have tweeted out a couple of times, raised some money for himself.
Also, where's Falcon's guns? Falcon's got his 2 machine guns. Where are those at?
I guess everybody's taking a anti-gun stance. I guess somehow they knew the future and they knew there'd be some more gun problems. And they're like, let's just be anti-gun just in case there's some kind of large population assault in the future. You really can't say certain things in YouTube. Yeah.
So it's a YouTube specific kind of deal.
Oh yeah, YouTube specific. Yeah, and Facebook and any other social platform that has arbitrary rules. Yeah, guidelines, hate speech. Like, I'm just trying to make a point. Oh well, yeah, but you can't. You're not allowed to.
Get your thesaurus out and make your point. Or go to 4chan or whatever.
Yeah.
Where there are no rules. See all of the worst of people.
Yeah. Popular assaultings. Yeah, the worst of the worst. I think the last time I went to 4chan was when I played World of Warcraft. I don't know, it was like a thing that like, it's weird. That's a weird place.
Yeah.
Like memes that I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
At this point, it's like it's like
any meme anymore at this point. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like its own ecosystem at that point. I feel like Reddit is the same way. Like, it's like, I didn't watch the first 2 seasons of Reddit, so I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
We missed.
So what else was fun about this episode? All right. So we got Carl Lumley here playing, did we get an actual name? Like Elijah or something?
Yeah. I think it is Elijah.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, and he was from like the Korean War. I feel like they aged him up. I feel like Carl Lumley doesn't look that old, which is odd because, you know.
But I mean, they want him to look the right age for the part, though, because he was in Captain America, right?
True.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if we're talking Korean War, so this is probably that's like 10 years after World War II, something like that.
Yeah, it was shortly after.
When was the Yeah. So yeah, there was another super soldier.
Secret
Just
super
living
soldier.
on the world.
Lots of S's. SSS.
Secret super soldier. Nobody told Steve. That's rude. He could have bonded with this dude.
He could have went
They
back
could
in
have
time
talked.
and talked to him. Yeah, when he went back. I wonder if he knew. He seemed a little jaded.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, that dude. Whew. I mean, he got put in prison for what, 30 years and got experimented on the whole time? Yeah, I'd be a little jaded too. We
Fair.
want what's in your blood.
Yeah, that's not exactly fair. That's kind of garbage.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you're a
sounds
super.
like maybe the Hydra guys were behind that.
But wouldn't you
When
be able to?
he said like you people or whatever.
You'd be able to get out.
Not if they know he's a super soldier. They can put him in some sort of reinforced situation.
Like at some point, you're going to have an opportunity. No, you're just stuck.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm being optimistic, I guess. But yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. Just and then Bucky is you people, and then they made there was the awkward moment where the police officer came when they left.
Oh yeah,
that was the whole thing. I'm glad I appreciate the way they tackled it though, because what they say, they had Bucky say something, and it.
Don't you know who this is or whatever?
Yeah, like it wasn't too terrible. It only shows things happening from that point of view. There's not another version of the scene where a cop approaches them differently, because not all cops act the same way. Not all people act the same way. So it's just reinforcing a particular narrative that's frustrating. But I don't know. It is true to a degree, I'm sure, or has been. Mm-hmm. It's just now we live in a time.
Absolutely.
We live in a time now where I think, steps are being taken to correct this.
Yeah. I definitely think as a culture we're getting better, but I still think you still see like basketball players driving around in fancy cars getting pulled over just because they're in a fancy car in the wrong neighborhood. That stuff still happens. So here, let's talk about this. This was great. I felt like some of their beef got squashed there, at the end of Endgame. They didn't seem to be bickering or anything like that. So the fact that now they're kind of like, I mean, I get it. Bucky's upset that Sam gave away the shield, but still, come on. Y'all should be friends.
I don't know why I gave the shield away, man. That was weird. It didn't really occur to me how serious that was until now. Like, you mentioned it in the last podcast, and I was like, And now that I think about it, that's a big deal. Captain gives you his priceless vibranium shield, and you're like, I don't deserve this. But
yeah, I get it. If you're giving it to the Smithsonian, I would assume that there's some paperwork you got to sign of, okay, at the end of this run of this gallery in the Smithsonian, if at any time you want to change, like, ownership should go back to me. I don't understand, like, if he gave it to the Smithsonian, I can't imagine it being a literal gift and not being a loan, or at least there being some paperwork drafted of if like that you can't just willy-nilly give this to the government. Yeah.
On second thought,
he
though,
gave it to the U.S. military.
I don't know that it was his to give. it may have actually been the property of the government. You know what I mean?
That might be what the government is saying to get around all of this. But,
Right.
I mean, Captain America gave it to him. It was in his possession.
Yeah, but the government gave it to Captain America. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Was Tony Stark an instrument of the government at that point, or was he a contractor?
Oh, did Stark give it to him? Is that what I can't remember?
Yeah, Stark gave it to him.
I'm just saying, at some point there was probably a government contract, and the
Right.
government may very well have authority over that shield. The same way that the government may or may not have authority over Falcon's wings or whatever. I would imagine if they're allowing them to operate, then there's some
True.
sort of contingency with that stuff. Yeah.
And then at what point did the wings, because if Tony upgraded the wings, then at what point are they no longer a government piece and they're Stark property that's been given to,
Yeah, if you modify
in that first episode, he was like, every time you guys touch this thing, y'all screw something up.
Yeah, if you modify the intellectual property enough or whatever, then does it become... We don't know the contracts. We don't know the inner workings. This could very well be
that's
all
what
of
we
Stark's.
need. We need...
Yeah, we're watching the wrong show. We need the show that just... Yeah.
has the appendices of just all of the... I want the minutia.
Not... You don't want the car...
Show.
Yeah, give me a show. Yeah. Explaining what the F is going on. Not the car driving too close to truck show.
Exactly. Take 90% of the time for that and put it into lawyers sitting at a table. Actually, you know what? Cut back and forth between the guys on the plane or the guys on the top of the trucks, and then new Captain America comes out, and then cut to boardroom. You got Sam's lawyers, you've got the U.S. military lawyers, and they're like, technically, the shield belongs to... The shield was given by Stark. And then, so technically it's Sam's shield, and then cut to, boom, punching, kicking, flying. That girl's kicking your butt. Cut to, actually, Stark made that shield as a contractor for the U.S. military, and then... So when given to Captain America, he was an employee of the U.S. military, and therefore, after his death, it should have reverted back to U.S. military's ownership. Cut back, and Sam fighting, super soldiers, masks, punches. Cut to... All right, we're going to table this discussion. We'll come back after lunch. Let's call it 45 minutes. And then you guys want to go to Jason's Deli? And then credits. There's your episode. Get on it, Disney Plus.
That actually might be more interesting in some ways, because there would have to be some character development. We'd have to follow the logic of the characters. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. It's your time to shine, man.
Where did my dog go? Oh my gosh. I'd like to welcome special guest Bill, my dog, to the podcast. Bill, say what's up to everybody. Bill just woke up from a nice little nap. He was sleeping in the little closet area. I put down a nice blanket for him. He was like, I don't want this blanket anymore. But we're also really close to the bathroom, which is where he gets a bath, and he hates that bathroom because that is not a fun place for him. So anytime we're over here, close to that bathroom, he gets a little suspicious. Just a little suspicious. You see that skepticism in his eyes? You see that? Oh, good yawn, yeah. If you're listening on the podcast, I'm sorry that you don't get to see this cute dog right now. Switch over to the YouTube. Check out my buddy Bill.
What's happening here?
Nothing much. I just went and got my dog. I turned around and my dog wasn't there, and he was supposed to be... I put him, like, right behind me. Can you hear this, like, random licking that he's doing?
Yeah. Very well. It's very clear.
I thought it'd be funny to do like dog ASMR. I think there's a market for that.
I'm sure there is.
Right.
Are you an ASMR? Have you listened to any of those?
No. I listened to a podcast that was on like a couple of years back. They've since stopped doing episodes, but it was called, oh gosh, what was it called? Don't Get Me Started.
Oh.
Yeah, it was called Don't Get Me Started. And the idea was they would bring on like relatively famous people, and they wouldn't talk about what made them famous or what made them a big deal. They would talk about their like minor obsessions or major obsessions outside of that. So they had on a writer for SNL, and They were like, so we don't want to talk about how you got your job or anything like that. We just want to talk about what your minor obsessions are. And she was like, I have to listen to ASMR to go to sleep. That's how I relax at the end of the day. So that's how I found out about it. And then there's just been like tiny little things here and there. But anytime there's a microphone in front of me, it makes me think about it.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like the people that have the binaural microphones, you know what I'm talking about? That simulate. No. Okay, so it's a microphone that records in a manner that simulates a human head and the way that we hear. So the space, yeah, that's what makes ASMR so magical. It's like the space that it creates makes it sound like it's really going on around your head. So you hear these sounds and you feel like they're in your head or you're in the room with the sounds. And that's why it has this sort of magical effect on people. So on some people. So
I just thought it was like a microphone with the input turned way, way up, like all the way up.
Yeah, no, it can be like you can do it with just a regular microphone and just be close and it still works to some degree. But like the people that are serious, like they use these binaural microphones and it's like another level.
Right.
You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah. I was we were discussing that I have a addictive personality earlier. So I did the same thing with ASMR. There was like, just like 6 weeks where I just couldn't stop listening to ASMR. It was just like every ASMR video or whatever. And it's just like weird sounds, like people making with their mouths and stuff like that. It's nasty, but like for whatever reason, I was addicted to it. It's like, oh, this is so cool. It's literally in my ear. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. And then like paper sounds and like crinkling things and like tapping on stuff. I don't know why. It was just like, it was like relaxing and stimulating at the same time. Just the weirdest thing. And if you haven't experienced, I recommend people at least try it and see if it does anything, because they call it tingles for a reason. And so in some people, it can give you like that sort of hair on the back of your neck standing up feeling. And I think it did that.
Interesting.
It did that for me a little bit. And it depends too, like who's doing it, what kind of, like you said, what kind of microphone they're using, how well they do it, all those things. So it's not just one thing that makes it work. So you might have to try a couple. But for a minute, I was like all in on it. And then I was just like, oh, this is dumb. At some point, I just decided it was stupid. But it did lead me to using the idea of putting something in a binaural space to actually start mixing music that way. So there are plugins that you can use to emulate something being in a binaural, like a binaural recording in a 3D space. And that's
interesting.
Yeah, that's actually how I mixed our song. So if you listen to, at the beginning, it sounds like the guitar is like tickling your ear, going around your head. It's because of that. So, you know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pleased to Meet You by the band Dual Paradigm.
Yeah.
Link in the description.
Yeah. Take a listen.
Why are we so bad at social media? I feel like we both understand the concepts of social media very well, but for some reason, like we're not.
Because there's something completely soul crushing, and it just, or not even crushing, it's like soul vacating about just like constantly posting. Yeah. I think that's it.
Like for the approval of other people, right? Is that what it is? Is it that underlying, like, I need to post and then I need to check it and then, and nobody's.
I think for us, it's more of a, hey, we did this thing, like it or don't, but it's there.
Yeah.
We're not going to shove it down your throat.
Yeah. I'm not going to retweet it 18 times. Yeah. I'm not going to say it.
Right. I'm not going to fill up your feed,
your timeline with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you see it, but you probably didn't.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to see us, click on us. I don't know, man. No, I was just going to transition to some of the other stuff I watched this week. My wife was out of the house for work a little bit this week, so I watched 2 movies that I had been meaning to watch that she didn't have interest in, and they're similar movies, but obviously way different approaches. But I watched The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie, and it's super intense, man. It is intense. And then the other movie that I watched was Whiplash, which is about drumming in a jazz band. Also super intense movie. And they both have this mentor-mentee student like teacher pupil setups that obviously go in like crazy different directions, and maybe there's some abusiveness on the side of the teachery person. So yeah, man, just got me in an intense space and got me into that space of looking at how people get sucked in to these like cult like group dynamics.
Oh.
So in like the improv world in New York when I was there, there's definitely like this in crowd cult like kind of vibe of, I don't know, worshiping at the altar of Del Close. We saw it in high school. There were teachers in high school that were almost worshipped. And
yeah,
so it just got me thinking about those kind of dynamics. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Speaking of weird cult dynamics, I happened to watch the show Seduced on Stars.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. So apparently this is a real thing, this guy.
Now,
Nexium?
Oh, yeah. I watched this one. I also highly recommend watching the HBO one.
Is it the same cult?
It's the same cult. Same deal. Yeah, same deal. And it goes into, this one gets like all into the meat and bones of the sexual exploitation within the group. The other one is like a slow burn about how it got from point A to point Z, because the HBO one is, it like really dives into the idea of how this self-help group kind of thing got started and how it like slowly grew and grew. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we're doing some not so great stuff here.
We didn't get past the first episode. It made my wife uncomfortable, but the first...
Yep, that's fair. No. Yeah, my wife was not watching these with me 100%.
Yeah, the first episode did touch on the business aspects of Nexium. And honestly, like most of the ideas and concepts in here sound great. You know, helping people make the world a better place.
That's how they always get.
Yeah. But they released all of these courses and all these people bought them. And it just makes me wonder, did they actually do some good? Did they actually help a chunk of people? And then at the same time, on the back end, start morphing into something terrible? You know what I mean? You make a product, you make a course that has a certain outcome that you want people to have. But then on the back end, if you're sick and twisted, at some point, you just start taking advantage of people that are super bought in. That's what it looked like from my perspective, is that the super bought in people that were like in the organization were the ones that got taken advantage of, and not so much the average customer of Nexium.
Yeah, you've got the people who are just pass-throughs, and those people are really just, if 30% of the people that are taking these classes turn into lifers, and then, or 33%, we'll call it that, if 33% turn into these like lifers who get sucked in completely, and then another 33% are like I'll do it for a year or two kind of people, the come and go group. And then you've got your just straight up pass through people, that 33% who are just like one class and then they're gone. Those two percentages, those guys are paying all the bills. And that 33%, those are the people who like pay for a class, but then they start teaching classes to the pass through people. And then it's the pyramid scheme as well. So yeah, it was all very interesting. And based out of Albany, New York, like convincing people who live in like,
Africa,
LA, and
like all over the
Africa
world,
and Mexico City. Yeah. And they're like, hey, come down to Albany, New York. No, thank you. Not at all.
Come to the YMCA in Albany.
Yeah. You guys want to play some volleyball?
That's literally what it was.
Absolutely.
It was a camp for adults, for the like for the coaches, for the people that like wanted to teach this stuff. They would take a camp and go to this thing. And that's where it started getting weird, where they started like kissing this guy and hugging the guy, praising the guy, like he's the greatest thing ever, blah, blah, blah. To me, it didn't really turn until that point. I'm sure there were hints of weirdness in the classes where they're like, he's the greatest, what they call him, Vanguard. He's the Vanguard. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah, but everything else in the material seemed like halfway legit, trying to help people.
Like, you'll get into some, like later on, you'll get into some stuff where they'll show like him teaching a class, and what is it? Keith Raniere, where he's like teaching a class and he'll be like, so let's talk about child. And and how it's not that crazy. And so he definitely like says some stuff where you're like,
yeah.
hey,
You mean child?
This
child grape?
This should have been. This is a red flag moment, y'all. This is a red flag moment.
Basically, what he said. He said that in different cultures, this wouldn't be considered grape. This is just regular awkward intercourse.
It's definitely like some Looney Tunes stuff.
Is he in jail?
Yeah, he's in jail.
I saw
he's in jail
because they showed a
the
clip.
person
They showed a clip of him like just talking to the camera like it was like yesterday.
Oh yeah, no, they've got
lots of footage.
If you watch the HBO one, you'll see that the guy who directed the movie What the Bleep, which was like a big deal in the 90s, he gets in with the group.
Yeah.
And his name's like Mark something. And he gets in with the group and basically becomes like the documentarian. So when he leaves the group, he's got all of this footage of all of these things. So all of this stuff comes from him filming all this stuff. So they have they got a bunch of stuff. And that dude is married to Bonnie, what is it? Peace? I don't know how it's supposed to be said. Bonnie, whatever her last name is. And she played Aunt Beru in Revenge of the Sith. So she was a part of it for a little bit.
Oh, his wife is Aunt Beru? What is I'm trying to find the documentary on HBO. The Vow.
Yeah, The Vow. Man.
So you watched both of these?
Yeah, I watched both of them. I went down the rabbit hole, man. It was crazy.
This guy, if he could have went forever if he didn't have a propensity.
Oh, yeah.
If he didn't have a propensity to go for, he could have kept going forever.
Well, no.
What did he get
He
arrested for then?
All kinds of stuff. There's some big time tax evasion going on. There's some human trafficking stuff, which I think because ladies got talked into being branded. So there's that part of it. And then because they held collateral on each person as a way to keep them in, they would ask for basically these things to where they would ask for like, exactly. So then it'd be like, send me a letter where you trash your whole family so that if you decide to leave, then they could publish this blackmail. They could release it to whatever to discredit you. So
it's like this guy studied cults and then made one.
Yeah, there's definitely like it's like cult / pyramid scheme / mid-level marketing group.
It's religion,
so it's like,
or whatever. Yeah, I guess that's cult. That's a cult.
It's not so much. Yeah, it doesn't really get into like faith stuff.
It's not so much
way more about.
Yeah, it's just like therapy or whatever. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
So it's not often that I get to talk to the camera by myself. So just thinking about this, like the general lack of respect that we have for each other. And I'm guilty of this as well. I'm sure there are plenty of times when I have turned the music up in my car too loud and driven down the street and not thinking twice about what time of night it was and what neighborhood I was in or any of those things. So this isn't about any group or any one thing in particular. This is just my general overall thoughts of society in general. It just seems like we've been forgetting incrementally the fundamentals of what make life great. That was fast. You out of breath?
So, yeah, a little bit. Them stairs, they get you. So this is what's interesting about The Master. It closely aligns itself with Scientology.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was about to get into with next year. Because they had those like interviews where I guess in Scientology you have to hold on to the magnetron or whatever.
The meter? I forget what the E stands for.
Electricity?
Something like that.
Energy?
Oh, you know what? I think it's engrams, which is a made up thing.
Engrams.
Yeah.
But it's an E meter.
Engrams.
Oh, Ingram.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So how is the Master similar to
this Philip Seymour Hoffman character? He's described as a like philosopher / doctor / artist / concert pianist. All of these
Renaissance man.
Fabulous. Yes, all of these fabulous things. Him and Joaquin Phoenix initially meet on a boat. So there's like this Philip Seymour Hoffman being like at sea kind of thing, which like really ties in with L. Ron Hubbard. Then this all takes place in like the 50s, which is when Scientology got started. And so the idea is that Philip Seymour Hoffman writes this initial book called like The Cause or something like that. And then he submits people to, it's not programming, but it's like processing, something like that. Like all these people, like they come in for processing. So like Scientology auditing, but then it's way more like hypnosis based. So they don't go full blown Scientology. So Scientology, the idea is that you go back and relive and reprocess like past traumas so that you can clear those engrams out of your life.
And this is an actual form of therapy that actually in a way can be beneficial. There are forms of therapy like this.
Yeah, definitely. It's similar to even like similar like that cathartic sense memory stuff that like actors go through, which is why I think actors are so easily brought in to Scientology, like why it's a thing that they gravitate to, because actors go through that.
Did you ever do any of the Scientology stuff, or do you know somebody that did?
No, I read about a third of Dianetics.
Yeah.
A long book.
I bought the book I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm starting to read it. It's like, this guy's a good author. That's what he does. And
there was so much like circular logic going on.
I'm sure it's faulted.
In the book. Yeah. So much of it was like, this all works and it's been proven and we're going to tell you how it's proven. Just keep reading because we know it works. And there are examples.
It's just hypnotic
and let me
language.
tell you some of these examples here in a second. And then it just keeps like repeating the same kind of cycles over and over and over. And you never actually get to the you never get that like hard and fast, like whatever. So it's almost like the book is, from my perspective, and again, I only read a third of it, but it doesn't feel like a textbook that gets into details. It's like a pamphlet for a thing that you need to go and do. And so it's a commercial. The book is a commercial for going into a Scientology center and actually doing the auditing and all of that stuff. And I don't feel like it ever really gets into what that process looks like and why it's important and why it works and all of that. It's just a commercial.
Yeah, what they call that is pseudo-logic, when you connect things that don't necessarily really connect in real life, but you use the language because, and these connecting words they use. So like they discussed in the shows, like neuro-linguistic programming, those types of words are used in hypnosis, and they're just doing this because this, and they're just mentioning on occasion, you need to, people that go in and have this audit or whatever they call it in this thing, do this, and then because this, and eventually just somewhere in your brain it just sticks and you're like, oh, maybe I should go get an audit, yeah. I
feel like Scientology and NXIVM both kind of have a vocabulary situation where as soon as you start, they're like, okay, this word, like we're going to use this word, and for our context it means this. So you have all these like code terms that don't really work in real life, but inside your subconscious like interprets it in another way. Nancy Saltzman.
Yeah, no, she admits it. I'm a hypnotist, neuro-linguistic programming person.
Neurolinguistics. That stuff is amazing. Yeah, the thing that I came away from looking at was like, oh man, that's something. Do you really?
Yeah. You got to see this. This is the best book. I need to do some more studying. I haven't read it, obviously. Otherwise, I'd be better at this stuff and I'd be able to hypnotize you. But I've read the first bits, and it's pretty amazing. This one is not by the creator is a guy named Richard Bandler. And I know a lot about this when I was staying with my dad and I was super depressed. I was studying all this stuff. And Richard Bandler's a guy.
Did that help?
Who invented it. You know what? I got into some very altered states. I was able to listen to like hypnosis stuff and really be in like a weird state. The actual practitioner use of it, I don't think I ever really, I know I didn't master or become great at. But this book, I think, probably is the best explanation of it. It's called Sleight of Mouth.
Okay.
sleight of mouth, the magic of conversational belief change. And this is all of the positive stuff associated with neuro-linguistic programming, like using it for good. But so these concepts are not new. Like we've heard of framing things and reframing things and context and the power of language. So it just...
And neither are like mid-level marketing schemes, but putting... That's where Keith Raniere got it right/wrong.
Yeah, but this book is good because it goes into like belief change and limiting beliefs and stuff and all that good stuff. And how you see yourself, and then how language can actually be used to help people. And I think that's pretty magical. And I really need to reread this or start over. I think I got maybe to chapter 3. It's really amazing stuff. And whether or not it actually works or not, who knows? But I imagine some of it does. I imagine on some level, some of it does. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these cults.
Right. Some of the things that Nancy Salzman brought up, or maybe somebody brought up about her, was things like matching people's tone and cadence while they talk as a way to relate to people and stuff like that. And that's something I've done in like customer service situations, like at the Kingdom, like getting yelled at because some dad is mad that his kid isn't tall enough to ride the roller coaster. They start up here, so then you start up here. They're yelling at you, so you talk as calmly as possible to bring them down, and then hopefully you can meet in the middle, like all that kind of stuff. It's stuff that works in those types of situations, and then seeing somebody just take it and flip it and then use it to, do a bunch of crazy
sick shit. Yeah. No, I think it's fascinating. I think more people should know how powerful words are. And we're living in a world right now where words are being redefined. And so that's messing with people, I think, in more than one way.
I think words are always evolving. That's, it's constant.
Yeah, the longer we live, then the more they evolve.
Right.
But like, you'll see a lot of this language in sales letters, sales pages, advertising. You need this because this, or the more this happens, then the more you need this, or what? Like this language is very manipulative, and you don't realize you're being manipulated. It just works. It just works because that's how we accept language. This and that. You put an and in there, and we tack that onto the thing you said before it. So it's just the way our brains work. That's all I got on it. I think it's fascinating.
No, that's absolutely fascinating. I recommend watching The Vow on HBO. This one was good as well. Yeah, both of these documentaries were strong. The Stars one is only 4 episodes. So this one you just get a lot of that dude Mark just beating himself up about getting taken for a ride here, and like you can tell that there's some like marital strife there between him and his wife, where she realized that Keith was full of crap before he did. So I think there was probably like 6 months of him being a douche about it, and now you can tell I gotta make up for being an ass to my wife about this for the 6 months where we were on the same
she
page.
should understand, because she was taken as well. I guess that's neither here.
Yeah, it's not like they're actively like at war with each other or anything like that, but he definitely has I screwed up and I need to make this up to my wife.
Yeah, I'll probably watch. Yeah, it's like this guy. Like if he would have he could have had a very functioning, legitimate business and made tons of money if he just didn't go too far.
Well, the further you get into the Nixium one, the Seduced one on Stars, you'll see that the earlier concepts of ESP, from the jump, he was trying to manipulate ladies and was doing some dirty stuff, like from go.
Sketchy stuff.
Yeah, so it wasn't that it started off pure.
Why do you think that Mary girl was so on board with helping him? That's what I don't understand. Or whatever her name is. That her name? The girl.
Nancy.
Nancy. Why do you think Nancy was so?
Salzman?
Yeah. Why do you think she was so on board with helping him? And like
money. I think she got into the neurolinguistic stuff. He had that Ponzi scheme business beforehand that failed, and I think I think the idea of building a thing together and making some money and not having to like go work at Walmart or whatever.
So like she was on board, like she said, let's make money and you can do your weird sex stuff on the back end, and it didn't bother her.
I think so. What's interesting is The Vow is going to have a season 2, and they get Nancy Salzman on tape. So I'm interested to see how, like, one of the last shots of the season finale of The Vow is them panning up from Nancy Salzman's ankle bracelet for her home incarceration and her sitting on the couch getting ready to be interviewed. So I'm curious to see what she has to say, because her daughter was knee deep in this stuff. So, like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, Keith maybe does some shady stuff, but I'm not involved with that. You know, what he does in his personal time with the ladies is totally on him. I can understand to a certain extent turning a blind eye to that so that you have some like plausible deniability, and that you don't have to, you know, deal with that part of it. But at the same time, if your daughter is in that group and one of those people, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and I haven't got to the trafficking part, so like that's crazy.
The trafficking it's not like they're like stealing girls out of whatever. I wouldn't say it's like the typical human trafficking that we are accustomed to. I think it's trafficking through manipulation, keeping people involved and taking away the resources for them to leave. There's one girl in this is in the Stars one. There's a girl who's basically locked in a house for like years, plural.
I see.
So I think a lot of I think that charge stems directly from her and maybe one other instance, and that's it.
Okay, so it's more like just locking a girl in a cabin or whatever, you know, which is terrible. Yeah, but it's not.
Yeah, I think it's like a house, like a random house in a suburb of Albany. So it's even like sadder than that. It's just like some random house. It's not some tucked away cabin in the woods.
But like she could have just walked out, or they lock her in. I don't know. Like, or is it's just all mind control? She's just, you can't go out of this door because then you will lose your vibes or whatever. Oops.
I don't know. I think it's some combination of the two, honestly. Because I think somebody lived in the house and it was their job to make sure she didn't leave or something like that.
It's like the question that I think is important that people see is that if this guy can do that, and this guy just is not anything special, I don't think, to any degree. If he can do this, then what's keeping other people from doing it?
Well, he's charismatic.
To a degree. He's no Tony Robbins. But I'm just saying, like, what I'm getting at is we all think we wouldn't be susceptible. We wouldn't be susceptible. I can't say the word. I need to make up a new word. Susceptible to this type of influence. But I think in real life, we're exposed to this on a regular basis. Like I said, advertising uses this language.
Definitely.
News channels. So
that's one of the things that Mark, what's his name, explores in The Vow. He's, look, nobody signs up to be in a cult. Nobody's, yes, I want that. You just get to the next step, to the next step, to the next step, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah, and
it's all this money and
it's like
friends and family.
I don't know if mind control is the right word to use, because of course people are going to say they're not mind controlled, but we definitely live in a different world than somebody in another culture, if you will. And so these aspects of language affect us in America or in whatever demographic area that we're in. And then when we go somewhere else, we're influenced by advertisers and politicians and all of it. Yeah, it changes the way that we think. And so I think it is important to learn this stuff. So pick up a copy of Sleight of Mouth.
And then tack on social media.
Pick up a copy of the book if it still exists. I don't know if you can still get it. But you should learn these things so you know when they're being used against you. I think it's important. Right. That's the only reason I mention it.
On a lighter note.
Yeah.
The other thing that I watched this week is the new Mighty Duck show on Disney Plus.
Oh, before we go there, though, can we talk about this?
Oh, Whiplash?
Yeah, because you mentioned that this is a very strict teacher teaching jazz drumming.
Yep.
Out of all of the genres of drumming, jazz, to me, would be the least strict or technical style of drumming. Have you ever been to a jazz show? Because I have. And that drummer looks like he's just chilling. That drummer is not, he's not even paying attention to half of what's going on. Like, he's just in his own world.
I think there's a difference.
So the idea that this guy is like screaming at him because he's not brushing the snare the right way, it's just like really weird to me. It's like really strange. It doesn't really add up for me. If this was something more technical, a technical style, Then
Well,
maybe
it's not like jazz improvisation. It's more so jazz in the sense of like very strict sheet music. You play exactly the note that's on the sheet and nothing more, nothing less.
okay.
And I think the thing that makes this, because it's basically it's like the concert band orchestra thing, but then it only just applied to jazz music. So it's not so much club jazz of
like four guys playing random notes.
a Miles Davis.
Yeah.
It's not a Miles Davis kind of like, all right, we're just gonna key a B and let's take a ride. Like, it's not that. It's here's the sheet music and play exactly the note. But the thing that gets harped on the most is the time signatures. Basically, he'll be like, okay, here's the tempo, and he'll start whatever, and he'll give him the tempo, and then he'll start playing, and then he's either like slightly ahead of the beat or slightly behind the beat, and then he just goes nuts to the point where he's slapping him in the face on beat.
Wow.
And then he's like, all right, am I slapping you in the face? Am I rushing the beat, or am I too slow on the beat while he's slapping him in the face? And the idea being that like he's toward the end of the movie, he basically says they keep using this story of, I forgot the drummer's name. I think it was a drummer. Maybe it was, I don't know, somebody, some famous player. No, Bird. That was his name.
Drummers I know. Neil Peart. Who are other famous? Lars. All of these drummers I'm mentioning are terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
this dude would murder Lars.
Except for Neil
This guy
Peart.
would murder Lars.
Is it weird that bad drummers are more famous? What's the guy in Dave Matthews Band? He's good.
Oh, Carter Beauford.
Yeah.
That dude's amazing.
Paradiddle.
There's a paradiddle scene. Charlie Parker. Woo! Yeah, saxophonist. So Charlie Parker's nickname was the Bird, and the idea was, or just Bird, and the reason he got the nickname Bird was because somebody threw the conductor of something threw a cymbal at his head, and he ducked just in time. And the idea is that because he got pushed and pushed and pushed, that made him practice harder and become amazing. So that's what this guy's whole MO is. I'm going to push everyone to the breaking point so that they achieve something that they wouldn't ordinarily achieve. But he obviously goes like way too far and is like super manipulative, throws things, smacks this dude in the face a whole bunch, so the other, I guess another crux of the thing is there's a piece that they play called Caravan that is in some ridiculously fast swing double time kind of deal. And it's, and 1, 2, 3, go. And these guys are just like banging on the drums like crazy. And he's rotating these 3 guys out until one of them gets the timing. So then you've got 3 guys just like bleeding hands, bleeding onto the drums, sweating, 2 a.m. And like the rest of the band is just like out in the hallway waiting for him to pick one of the drummers. So yeah, very intense movie. J.K. Simmons does a great job. Miles Teller does a great job. Paul Reiser plays Miles Teller's dad immediately.
Another thing that strikes me just from not actually watching the movie is that a lot of this movie takes place with J.K. Simmons yelling at the drummer. When to me, as somebody who is, one, I'm not a great drummer, so maybe I can't talk, but it feels to me like a good drummer not only has an internal metronome, but they also have to have a feeling with the group as a whole for when it's time to speed up or time to slow down. Is that attacked at any point in this film, or is it just be a metronome?
No, I think it's be a metronome, because I think the idea is that everyone in the band should be taking their tempo off the conductor and not the drummer.
Okay, that makes sense.
And if anybody's off, then that's on them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the piece shouldn't change. It should stay at whatever tempo he
if you have a conductor,
determines.
then obviously, if you're playing in a group of people on your own, then that's a different situation.
If you're just playing a show at the jazz place,
then it's on you more, because the drummer morphs a lot of the tempo and stuff themselves. So
when he's starting to get upset, it almost always starts the same way, where he'll start to like clap, and then the drum will start, and he's like, not quite my time, here we go, one more time. Nope, you're not quite on my time, stick with what I'm doing. It's a lot of that, and then it just escalates, and then he starts belittling people.
I wonder what it's like to be that good of a drummer. About to ask Tim.
Right? I wouldn't know. Mighty Ducks, man. They're back. I've got beef with this show right out of the gate. They put Gordon Bombay as the like owner operator of this skating rink, and he's all like, I hate hockey. Hockey is the worst thing ever. And I'm like, from where he left the third movie as hotshot lawyer again. So the first movie, he's the lawyer, he's the hotshot lawyer, and he's I hate hockey, and he's an alcoholic, and then he gets in trouble for the DUI, has to do community service, has to coach this hockey team, and he's I hate hockey, hockey ruined my life. And then Ducks.
Character? I've never seen any of the Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
Okay.
What?
I can't.
Jacob Aaron. What? How did you not see this when it came out?
I'm a huge Emilio fan, but me and sports,
Huge Emilio fan.
we don't agree.
You don't like sports. You don't like sports. You don't like sports. It's
and at the time, I had an aversion to children. Like, I was afraid of children for a long time. It's taken me close to 40 years to get over being afraid of children.
But when that first movie came out, you could like what? If I
would have been a child, I was still afraid of children.
You were 10.
Didn't
that
care.
That should be like prime time for you.
Yeah. If I had watched this movie when I was 10, I probably would be a hockey player. It's like I said, I just go all in on whatever. But
right. Yeah. I wonder what the post first Mighty Ducks movie bump for kids signing up for hockey teams was. I wonder if it was like 5%, 10%, 15% more kids signing up for the Mighty Ducks movie.
This movie is sponsored by like every ice arena ever.
Especially, you probably have to take out like the northern hockey states. Like I'm thinking, especially in like the South.
Yeah, I mean, what do they call it? What do they call it? Arena?
Or not the Midwest.
We have Broadbent, right?
Yeah, Broadbent used to have the hockey teams, but now they just do
Disney on Ice,
horse shows and dog shows and stuff. Now Disney on Ice will go to the Center or Freedom Hall.
Okay. Nothing on ice. Nothing's on ice anymore. That has to be a lot of trouble. We got Disney on Ice coming in. Where do you want to go? You want to go to an ice skating rink type place? No, we're gonna go to the Center. Arena. We're just gonna put ice.
They travel with their own like rig. It's wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's wild, man. Like seeing them set it up and then spray it down with a hose and then just like slowly add layers of ice over time. It's crazy to watch.
I wanted to go. I wanted to go to this last one. I was trying to get tickets, and I think it was like right when COVID hit or something. I'm not sure. Or we were about to go to Thailand or something. Yeah. I don't know. Something happened, and we ended up not going. But I really wanted my wife to see it because I don't think she's ever seen any like ice skating performance piece except for I, Tanya.
The Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, I still haven't seen that movie, and I need to.
It's all right.
I heard it was good.
It's a totally different perspective than what the news gave us. So it's totally different. Yeah, you get her side of the story. So it's a different, totally different take. Yeah, you feel bad for her in a way, which is sad. Like it's weird because.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah,
at the time she didn't seem like a sympathetic figure.
No, at the time she seemed terrible. Yeah, we all pretty much hated her. Yeah, but you see the back is comical, like how all of it goes down in the background, like these people that are just in their own heads. And it's like this guy, he thinks he's like a spy and he acts he's a spy. And like, it's just, it's just people not in their own minds. It's like the internet before the internet.
Right.
You know? You just get in a loop in your head where you think you're freaking James Bond or something. And you go and you do all these like ridiculous things thinking you're on a mission, you know?
Definitely.
It's pretty funny, actually. You should watch.
Yeah. No, I want to. It's on like Prime, right?
I think it was at some point. It's on something.
Something like that.
Well, Mighty Ducks. What was the takeaway on this one?
My takeaway is I have a hard time believing that Gordon Bombay has Emilio Estevez's character is that he's in the position he's in. I think they need to do some explaining as to, because at the end of the third movie, he's back to being a lawyer. After having after the first movie, he gets a shot with the hockey minor leagues, busts his knee at the beginning of the second movie, and that pretty much takes him out. So by the third movie, he's done coaching and he is back to being a hotshot lawyer. Only now he's got the confidence of being a good person and all of this stuff. So when we leave him at the end of the third movie, he's got all of these kids that he's helped be the best that they possibly can be. He's pushed them out of the Mighty Ducks nest, and they are now all in hockey prep school land. And he helped them get into school and excel their lives. He's back to being a hotshot lawyer. And so when we see him now, he's like the cranky old man who runs the ice palace, who is eating leftover birthday cake from the birthday parties at the ice rink and scowls at any mention of the word hockey. I just don't think that's true. Like they go into, he gets like one line where the game's changed and the parents all want their kids to be hockey stars and it's not about fun anymore. And I'm like, okay, that might be the case. Like they might have pushed you out of being the coach of the team or whatever, but that still doesn't explain why you're living this life of a hermit.
Right. It's the
eating leftover birthday cake.
It's the let's make a third Mighty Ducks movie or an fourth Mighty Ducks movie or an eighth Star Wars movie. And let's take the main character and put him in a position you never thought he'd be in. And then write the movie around that.
Look, I see what you're doing. What they should have done was taken one of the former players on the Ducks and made them they were like, nah, we need to get Emilio. Let's get Emilio in here. They could have pulled one of the kids and then had Emilio come in as like a guest spot and be like, hey.
Or that story might have been interesting if you see the downfall of Emilio, like the actual, it may not have been as uplifting, probably. It would have been a story. Right. And on that note.
So you watched the Nexium thing. What anything else you watched this week? Or anything fun you've listened to?
I've been on the, I found a YouTuber. She has a channel called American Shade, and she tries to approach topics from neither a right or left point of view, although I'm sure someone will say she's biased in some way, but she really tries to approach topics from an outside point of view, and it's fun to listen to. It's been fun. I just started listening to her today, actually. And
cool.
Yeah. So if you need some modern wisdom, she interviews some guests and things. Yeah. She broaches controversial topics in what I think is somewhat fair and balanced way. And it's good to see that work being done. So
cool. Let's see. Anything coming up this week? We got more Falcon and Winter Soldier, more Mighty Ducks.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think we did it. I think we got a show here. I think we did it.
Yeah. This show's been random. This was a random one.
Yeah. Super random. But hey, look, that's what we're doing now.
And if you appreciated this one, give it some likes. If you think somebody else would want to hear this nonsense, send it over to them. Share.
Comment, subscribe, rate and review. Hit us up all the ways. Yeah. Tweets, books,
send us a message.
We don't have one.
Write an email.
Send us a message.
Yeah. I'm Jacob. I'm Jacob at isthisentertainment.com, and he's Ben at isthisentertainment.com. Just send an email.
Simple as that.
Yeah. Be like, hey, stop talking or whatever it is.
Dig the podcast.
Yeah, I love it.
Can you cut it down to not be 2 hours?
Can you make it 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Can you talk about more fun topic? Can you not make everything so serious? I'm trying to be more fun. I don't know. All right. And on that note, bye.
Bye.